So these last couple days we're going to practice factoring, which you already did in Algebra 1, but you will continue to use this in Algebra 2. So I just wanted to repeat and kind of reiterate how to factor when you have a quadratic equation. So we have w squared minus 7w minus 18. You'll notice that this is actually the first problem on your worksheet, so you should be filling this in as an example that you can use. So what you're going to do is you're going to make an X shape, and you're going to put the last number on top, so negative 18 goes on top, and then you'll put the middle number on bottom, which is the negative 7. So this is really just a graphic organizer to help you understand that I got to find numbers that multiply to negative 18 but will add to negative 7. So up top, this is where you multiply. On bottom, this is where you're going to add. So what you're going to do is you're going to list out all of the factors of 18. And what I have found is that some of you struggle to find the factors of 18. So what you should be doing is, when I'm finding factors of a number, I just start by taking 18 and dividing by the smallest number, which would be 1. So my first set of factors would be 1 and 18. Then I would do the next set. So then I would do 18 divided by the next biggest, which would be 2. So 2 and 9 both work. Then I would try the next set. So I would do 18 divided by 3, which is 6. Then I would keep going. 18 divided by 4. This gives me a decimal, which means that it won't be a factor. So then I can do 18 divided by 5, which is also a decimal, so it won't work. I already used 6, so now I'm done. So when you're finding those factors, you should just be dividing by the smallest number and continuing all the way up. To bridge that fact, I can stop if I'm at 3 and 6 and I've already tried the numbers in between them. It's not going to be anything bigger than 6 because we've already tried the other pairs. So you can stop once you get to the smallest number. So once you have the factors listed out, what you're going to do is you're going to use your signs. So remember that we are trying to find something that multiplies to negative 18. But remember, in our sign rules, there are two options for that. When I am multiplying for a negative, I could have a negative and then a positive, or vice versa. I could have a positive and then a negative. So you might want to remember these sign rules for when you're multiplying, because that's going to help us. So what I just did is I wrote this all down so you could see that what happens if the first number is negative and the second one's positive, or vice versa, the first number is positive and the second's negative. Then I would look at all of these factors and I would find which ones add to negative 7. Well, this doesn't. This adds to positive 7. This adds to positive 3. This adds to negative 17. And this one adds to negative 7. So therefore, I know that this set, 2 and negative 9, is what has to work to add to negative 7. So a lot of the times people can do this part in their head, but I wanted you to see what I would actually be doing. So I would be finding all the factors of 18, which are these. Then I would put those numbers in and find my sign. So since they need to add to negative 7, I put a negative on the bigger number. So the other part is remembering that using your sign rules correctly when you're adding. So once we have our numbers here, all you're going to do is set out your two sets of parentheses, and my first will always be the letter of what you use, so W and W. Then I just plug in the numbers I found, so positive 2 and negative 9. So what you found was you found two binomials that if I were to multiply them, it would come back to this quadratic. So when you're factoring it, you're actually going in the reverse. So you're just trying to find what I could multiply to get to that. Alright, you pause the video and it is your turn to try the next one. So on the next one, we have d squared minus 6d plus 8. And again, you should notice this is the second problem on your worksheet, so you should just be filling it in. So in my graphic organizer, I'm finding numbers, factors of 8 that will add to negative 6. So I listed out all of my factors, so 1 and 8, 2 and 4, And so 2 and 4 add to 6, but since they need to be -6, that means that they're either both positive or they're both negative. So therefore I need them to both be negative to add to a -6. So then I just plug it in. I put in my letters on the first set, and then I put in my numbers, so -2 and then -4. The trickiest part is really just finding the signs on these because I found that students struggle with their sign rules. So remember, the top one is multiplication, but the bottom one is when you are adding. Alright, you are going to finish the rest of those questions on the first factoring worksheet.